What's up, Internet? Don here from DonDoes30.com, bringing you another Python tutorial that will expand on what we learned last time about arrays. So if you haven't watched the video about arrays or Python lists, go back and watch that video. I'm going to touch on it real quick just as a example because we're going to move on to what we call dictionaries in Python, which is basically the same concept, just a little bit different in how it's structured. So I've got, let's go ahead and make a temp file real quick so we could go ahead and explore arrays again. And remember, if you want to use a variable that has a multi-structure to it, we would put array, open bracket, and we would say, let's say Don does 30. And then to get the values of that variable, we would print array, and we would reference it by the index number. And remember, it starts with 0, 1, 2. And again, this is just a quick review of what we learned last time. I'm going to expand and go to dictionaries, which is a little bit more confusing, but it's not bad once you get the concept. And they're actually very useful in terms of what we could do with dictionaries. So again, let's just run this, and it's going to print out each one as we index it by the index number. All right, so 0, 1, 2, and yeah. So if you want to go ahead, review the array or list video that I posted last week, because we're going to move on to dictionaries. So I'm going to just create a new Python script file. And one of the ways dictionaries differ is instead of using the position number of the array, it actually uses a key or an index, whatever you want to call it. Another difference is we're going to open it with this, whatever you call this, a squiggly bracket, I guess. And what I mean by an index or a key is, I'm going to do, if you guys are from the United States, this will make more sense. If not, it might make not as much sense. But let's say Florida, right? And colon, the abbreviation is FL. All right, so Florida would be our index or our key here, and the abbreviation would be FL. So I'm going to use this dictionary to kind of define different abbreviations, right? So we'll go for another one, New York, colon, New York, and put a comma after it. Remember, this is going to be our key, this is going to be our output, and we'll just keep going for a few of them. Let's say California, whoops, is CA, New Jersey is going to be NJ, and one more, let's say Alabama, lovely state of Alabama, AL, and we're going to end it with a closing squiggly. Okay, now this you cannot reference by the number because, well, I'll show you. Let's go ahead and print the dictionary real quick, just so you get an idea of what it looks like, because it doesn't always print out in the same manner in which you put it in. So remember, we put Florida first, right? If we print it out, New Jersey's coming first. California, Alabama, New York. So this is not even in the order that we printed it or that we created it, right? So we're going to go back, and if we want to reference or find out the value of any of these abbreviations, we have to use the index as the reference point. So I'm going to put Florida, okay? And we're going to print, let's say, New York, and then we'll jump down a few. We'll print, let's say Alabama. Alabama. It's a Forrest Gump quote. If you guys haven't seen it, it just means I'm fucking old, and that's an old movie. All right, so now we're going to run it, and when we call it in that print, remember, it's going to actually pull the abbreviation values. All right, so what we did is we printed by the index, and it called this. Now this is pretty awesome for things of this nature. You could use it for a lot of things. Basically kind of like a translation table. If you're trying to reference the value of one thing based on the direct value of another thing, the dictionary is really the way to go, and it's really cool. So just to prove my point, let's say I went ahead and I wanted to call it by the position number. Again, this is not going to work, but let's try it out just to see all the errors, the fun errors that we get, because this is not an array, it's a dictionary. We know it's a dictionary by the way these brackets are set up. And what the hell are those called? If anybody could tell me what those things are called, I don't feel like Googling it. Put it down in the comments for me, please. All right, whoops. So we're getting, well, we're getting some errors here, all right, because guess what? There's no traceback. This doesn't make any sense. There's not, this isn't a key or anything. Yeah. So again, dictionaries are very useful for different things, especially when you're doing it this way. Always remember that in most cases, Python is very vulnerable to how we structure our script, right? If you've been following me for a while and you've tried out some of my scripts, I've gotten a lot of comments back about indentation errors. But when you're doing a dictionary, as long as you got the comma, you could start a new line and keep listing it. I could have listed all of these on the same line, but if I'm going to do all 50 states or something, it could get a little bit crazy. So try this out. And again, this is a lot of fun. It's very useful. And we're going to incorporate dictionaries later on when we're writing some more complicated scripts. So keep following along. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. Whatever it takes. And I'll be bringing some more Python tutorials soon and some more hacking tutorials. Thanks.